Somewhere in the silence between your dreams and your doubts, a voice has been waiting. Not loud, not proud, just true. A voice that says, you were not made to shrink. You were not built to blend in. You were not sent here to settle. You are the best. Not in arrogance, but in alignment. Not better than others, but better than the version of you who forgets who they are. This isn't ego speaking. This is essence. This is the core of who you've always been. Before the world tried to bury it beneath fear, failure, and forgetfulness. You are the best, not because others are less, but because no one else can be you. Not with your fingerprints, not with your fire, not with your fight. There is no one walking this planet who can carry what you carry. Think how you think, build what you build, lead how you lead. And the moment you really grasp that is the moment everything changes. Because the world will always try to sell you doubt, to tell you that you're late, that you're behind, that you're not enough. But the truth is, you are right on time. You are walking the exact road designed for your greatness. And every stumble, every scar, every silence has been carving out the capacity you'll need to carry what's coming. The greatest lie you've ever been told is that you need something outside of yourself to be great. That you need the perfect strategy, the right timing, the right people to notice you. But here's what they never told you. The moment you decide to show up fully, to speak with fire, to walk with certainty, to own your gift like it's already written in gold, you become unshakable. Because greatness doesn't come from permission. It comes from possession. You must take possession of your identity before anyone else does. Not with noise, but with knowing. Knowing that your path doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. Knowing that your rhythm doesn't have to match the world's beat. Knowing that your life is not a copy-paste of someone else's template. You are the best because you are the only one with your mix of pain and purpose. The only one with your particular rhythm of genius. The only one with your name written on your destiny. And it's time you stop waiting, stop asking, stop doubting, and start declaring, not in the mirror, not in the shadows, but in your walk, in your presence, in your actions. Because confidence isn't a costume, it's a contract. A contract you sign every day when you show up aligned with your highest standard. This isn't about being better than anyone else. This is about being unavailable for anything less than who you're here to become. You are the best when your mindset refuses mediocrity, when your belief system becomes bulletproof, when your energy is sacred, when your word becomes law. And if you want to rise, you've got to build the belief system that protects that rise. A system that says, I don't need validation to walk in vision. I don't need applause to feel worthy. I don't need guarantees because I am the guarantee. Mindset is not just motivation. It is mental architecture. It is the way you wire yourself to respond. Not just when things go well, but when things fall apart. Do you rise when no one's watching? Do you build when no one claps? Do you speak life into the mirror when the world only echoes doubt? Because those are the moments where the best are born. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, where no one sees the discipline. No one sees the silence. No one sees the decision. But one day, they will see the result. And they'll call it overnight. But you'll know it was every night. Every night you didn't quit. Every night you rewrote your story. Every night you chose growth over guilt. Because belief is built in private and revealed in public. And the ones who carry greatness, they believe before the proof. They act before the applause. They build before it feels real. Because they know reality doesn't shape them. They shape reality. And once you believe that, truly believe that, you become limitless. Not because you're perfect, but because you're present. Present to your purpose. Present to your power. Present to the possibility of what happens when you stop waiting to be chosen. And choose yourself. Because you are the best. Not one day. Today. No one is better than you. Not because you're flawless, but because you are fearless enough to show up real. In a world of copies, you chose to be original. In a world of noise, you chose to listen inward. In a world of speed, you chose to move in alignment. That's power. That's presence. That's you. And we're only getting started. Because being the best doesn't begin when someone hands you a trophy. It begins when you no longer need one. When you realize the reward was never the recognition, it was the refinement. The nights you stayed disciplined while everyone else drifted. The mornings you moved in silence while others waited for motivation. The battles you fought inside your mind that no one ever saw. Those were your championships. That's where the best are made. Not in the moments that feel good, but in the ones that grow you. When you could have compromised, but didn't. When you could have coasted, but chose to climb. When you could have blamed, but decided to build. That's when you cross the threshold. From being driven by emotion to being anchored in vision. Because clarity, real clarity, isn't just about knowing what you want. It's knowing who you are without it. Knowing that the vision is not what makes you worthy. It's the pursuit of it that reveals you. And the clearer your vision, the quieter your life becomes. You stop entertaining distraction. You stop explaining your moves. You stop apologizing for being committed. Because clarity is a filter. It's how you protect your energy. It's how you move through noise without being pulled into it. The best don't get caught in the chaos. They channel it. They turn pressure into precision. They turn doubt into direction. Because when your vision is clean, you don't chase, you attract. And what you attract reflects what you've accepted about yourself. That's why the ones who know their worth never beg for attention. They move with so much alignment that the right people, the right moments, the right opportunities can't help but gravitate toward them. But vision alone isn't enough. You need purpose. You need why. Because when life hits, and it will, when emotions crash, when setbacks stack, when nothing makes sense, your purpose is what keeps you moving. Purpose is the fire that discipline protects. Purpose is what makes discomfort worth it. Purpose is what turns pressure into fuel. And if you've forgotten your purpose, look at your pain. Your deepest pain is often pointing to your highest calling. What broke you may be exactly what you were born to build for others. That's why the best don't just overcome, they offer. They take their pain, their lessons, their evolution, and they give it away. Not because they need praise, but because they understand the currency of legacy. And legacy is not something you leave when you die. It's something you live while you're still breathing. Every word you speak, every choice you make, every room you walk into with intention, that's legacy. And it demands discipline, because discipline is the bridge between the version of you that wants to quit and the version of you that can't be stopped. It's not punishment. It's permission. Permission to rise above your excuses. Permission to lead your life instead of watching it pass by. Permission to own your habits, to control your day, to master your movement. The best don't hope they'll feel like it. They move anyway. They don't negotiate with laziness. They don't entertain inconsistency. They don't debate the grind. They decide once and execute daily. Discipline doesn't drain you. It develops you. It doesn't trap you. It trains you. And every time you follow through on a promise you made to yourself, you deposit confidence into your character. That's how the best think. That's how they win. Not with hacks or luck, but with honor. They honor their word. They honor their time. They honor the vision no one else can see yet. Because they know if you only move when it's easy, You'll never arrive when it matters. So show up every day, every moment, every second like it counts. Because it does. Because you do. Because you are the best, not in comparison, but in conviction. And no one is better than a soul who is aligned, awake, and unstoppable. Because once you've tasted alignment, real alignment, you can't go back to sleepwalking through life. You can't go back to empty conversations. You can't go back to fake ambition. You can't go back to doing things just to be seen. You've been awakened, and that awareness is permanent. The best are not busy, they are intentional. They don't just fill calendars. They fill purpose. They fill moments with meaning. They don't chase time. They command it. They don't fear pressure. They focus it. They don't beg for opportunity. They build it. Because action is the echo of belief. Every move you make either confirms your power or betrays your potential. The best understand this. They've replaced anxiety with action. They've replaced distraction with direction. They've stopped talking about who they could be and started becoming it. Because if you want to live a life that others admire, you must be willing to do what others avoid. That means saying yes to consistency. That means saying no to comfort. That means showing up when it's boring, when it's quiet, when it's lonely, especially when it's lonely. Because the path of the best is often walked alone, but never in vain. That solitude, it sharpens, it strengthens, it separates. It separates the casual from the committed, the interested from the invested, the ones who want to be seen from the ones who came to serve and service. That's the soul of legacy. That's the heartbeat of impact. You don't just build for you. You build for the ones watching, the ones who don't believe it's possible, the ones who need to see it in you before they believe it in themselves. So every time you rise, every time you speak with integrity, every time you act like the person you were created to be, you light a fire in someone else. This is bigger than you. This is divine. This is destiny. And once you see it that way, you can't quit. You won't quit. You don't stop when it's hard. You level up. You don't retreat when it's unfamiliar. You recalibrate because you know who you are. You know what you carry. You know why you're here. And when that kind of certainty lives inside you, you walk different. You speak different. You live different because you are the best and you don't need anyone else to confirm it. You've confirmed it in your choices, in your character, in your consistency. No one can do what you do the way you do it. No one can see what you see the way you see it. No one can lead like you because you were built for something specific. And when you walk in that, when you own that, comparison dies. Envy evaporates. Doubt disappears because purpose is louder than all of it. So keep walking, keep building, keep becoming. And when the world finally asks, how did you do it? How did you become the one no one could stop? Smile and say with quiet fire, I never needed to be better than anyone. I just became the best no one else could be because I became me, fully, completely, unapologetically. And that is a power no one can compete with because there is no competition. When you're in your calling, there is no race. When you're on your path, there is no fear. When you are anchored in your truth, the people who waste their energy comparing, who chase trends, who mimic moves, they will always feel behind. They will always feel less. But you've tapped into the rarest fuel on earth, authenticity. And when you operate from that place, every step is a declaration. Every action is a vote for who you've chosen to become. You don't walk to impress. You walk to embody. You don't show up for applause. You show up because your presence is the point. And when your presence is aligned, you don't need to speak to shift the room. You are the shift. Because people don't follow noise. They follow certainty. And you become certain. Certain of your worth. Certain of your direction. Certain of the unseen power that rises every time you take a step in faith. That certainty didn't come from books. It didn't come from likes. It didn't come from being told you're enough. It came from the work. From the inner war. You fought and won. It came from the decision to wake up when quitting made more sense. From the nights you whispered truth to yourself when doubt was screaming. From the mornings you moved, even when your mind begged for stillness. That's where the best are born. In moments no one claps for. In battles no one sees. In decisions no one understands until the results appear. And when they do appear, people will ask for your secrets. They'll want your blueprint. They'll ask what books you read, what habits you follow, what tools you use. But here's what you'll tell them. It wasn't the method. It was the mindset. It was the decision to lead myself first, to stop waiting, to stop watching, to stop wishing, and start walking like I already was the one. Because you were. From the beginning, before anyone believed, before any result showed up, before any hand clapped, you were the one. And when you accepted that truth, not with ego, but with intention, everything changed. Because here's the truth. They won't tell you. You can't be beat when you're being yourself fully. You can't be replaced when you're rooted in your purpose. You can't be stopped when your source is internal and your source is lit with purpose, with passion, with a promise you made to yourself that you would never betray your gift again. Not for likes, not for safety, not for fear disguised as logic, because you've walked through all that and you came out clear that your power isn't found in proving anything. It's found in providing value, projecting light, protecting peace, and pursuing purpose like your life depends on it. Because it does. So this is it. No more shrinking. No more delaying. No more telling yourself that your time is later. Your time is now. You are the best. Not someday. Not in theory. Not if conditions are perfect. You are the best right now. Right here. In this breath. In this body. With this past. And this pain. And this fire. Because no one can do what you do the way you do it. And now that you know it, there's only one thing left to do. Live it. Not just when you're inspired, but when it's inconvenient. Not just when the world is watching, but when no one claps. Not just when you feel powerful, but when you feel empty and you choose to show up anyway. That's what the best do. They don't wait for a sign. They become the signal. They don't hope for the moment. They are the moment, because living it means you no longer outsource your destiny. You no longer wait for life to give you permission. You no longer rehearse your worth in silence while the world passes by. You live it. Loudly, boldly, deliberately. You speak like your words are the seeds of your future, because they are. You move like your actions. Write your story because they do. You think like your thoughts become your world because they will. And when the doubts creep in, and they will, you remind them who built this house, who rose from the floor, who planted vision in the dirt of difficulty. Because this didn't happen overnight. It happened every single time you chose to believe in the unseen. Every time you followed through when no one was watching. Every time you fell and refused to stay down. That's why you're the best. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because of choice. You chose you. You chose discipline. You chose integrity. You chose purpose over popularity. And now, you don't just inspire, you embody. You are the living proof that it's possible. That pain can birth power. That silence can birth strength. That doubt can birth destiny. If you don't stop moving, so keep going. Keep living like it's already written, because it is. Your greatness has never been up for debate. It's been waiting for activation. And now you're activated. You're aware. You're awake. And no one can take that from you. Not time, not failure, not rejection, not fear. Because once you've looked your fear in the eye and said, I'm going to do it anyway, you become a different kind of force. You become inevitable. So stop doubting. Start declaring. Stop hoping. Start honoring. Honor the gift. Honor the grit. Honor the greatness that's been in you since day one. The greatness that can't be duplicated, replicated, or denied. Because it's not rented. It's rooted in your blood, in your voice, in your name. So walk like it. Talk like it. Build like it. Lead like it. And when the day comes that the world finally calls you the best, you'll smile. Not because they finally saw it, but because you always did. You always knew, I am the best. Not above you, but beyond who I used to be. And no one is better than that. And when that truth settles into your bones, you no longer rush. You no longer prove. You no longer perform, because you found something more powerful than applause. Peace. Peace in knowing that the path you're walking is yours. That every step, no matter how heavy, is taking you deeper into alignment with the life you were born to live. You no longer chase moments. You create momentum. You no longer fear the unknown. You forge your future. Because the best, they don't just dream. They decide who they are. They decide what they stand for. They decide what they'll no longer tolerate. Not just from others, but from themselves. And that decision, it becomes identity. Not the identity the world gave you. The one you built through fire, through failure, through faith. It becomes the anchor you return to when life gets loud, when pressure hits, when fear whispers. You return to this, knowing, I've already won the war inside me. So what could possibly stop me now? Not rejection, not delay, not silence, not even success. Because the best don't get lost in winning. They stay rooted in why they began. They know that greatness isn't a moment. It's a mode of being, a way of walking, a way of showing up, a way of serving. And that's what this is about. This isn't about shouting, I'm the best to the world. This is about living like it, serving like it, showing up like it. So consistently, so fully, so fiercely, that the world has no choice but to rise when you enter. Because that's what real power does. It doesn't crush. It calls forth. It lifts. It liberates. It leads. And when you lead from this place, the place of total alignment, total conviction, total ownership, everything changes. You stop doubting. You start designing. You stop hiding. You start healing. You stop settling. You start shaping. Not just your life, but the lives around you. Because when one person wakes up to their best self, everyone watching gets permission to do the same. So be that person. Be the example. Be the evidence. That greatness doesn't require perfection, only presence. Only the decision to own your power, to walk in it, to speak from it, to lead with it. Because in a world full of noise, you are the note of truth. In a world full of comparison, you are the proof of uniqueness. In a world full of questions, you are the answer that lives awake. You are the best, not later, now, not in theory, in truth, not if they see it, because you do. And when you know who you are, no one can tell you otherwise. No setback can erase it. No silence can silence it. because the crown was never handed to you. It grew from within you. So lift your head, straighten your spine, speak your truth, live your legacy. You are the best. No one is better than, because you are the only one who can be you. And from this moment on, you will never forget it. You will never look back. You will never play small, because the world doesn't need another copy. It needs you fully, boldly, brilliantly, exactly as you are, exactly as you've been forged, and now exactly as you choose to live. So choose to live it all the way. Live it without apology. Live it without delay. Live it without asking for someone else to validate the voice inside your soul. Because the world is not waiting for another echo. It's waiting for your original sound. That sound only you can release. That frequency only you can carry. You are not an accident. You are not a random spark in the dark. You are not someone trying to find purpose. You are purpose. Waking, walking, wielding the weight of your words like a sword of light. So speak with power, move with presence, and build with belief, because everything you want to be is already within you, waiting for instruction. It's waiting for your courage to lead. It's waiting for your clarity to command. It's waiting for your yes to activate. The people who change the world aren't louder. They're clearer. They don't know more. They believe deeper. They don't wait to feel ready. They move anyway. And that's you now. A soul on fire with intention. A heart uncluttered by comparison. A mind so trained in truth, it cannot be manipulated by fear. You've arrived at the place where you know there is nothing missing. There is nothing to prove. There is only the daily devotion to the standard you said you would embody. The highest version of you. The one who walks into every moment with the quiet certainty of a giant, not because they're trying to be seen, but because they are finally seeing themselves. This is your destiny, not in a distant someday, but in the decisions you make today. Every choice from now forward is a statement. Every action, a declaration. Every breath, a reminder. I was born to lead. I was born to lift. I was born to light the way, not with noise, with clarity, with consistency, with character. That's what separates the best. Not talent, tenacity, not luck, loyalty to the vision, not perfection, but the refusal to stop showing up with excellence even when it's unseen. So show up for you, for them, for what you came here to complete. Because there are people who will never believe in themselves until they see you believe in you. There are lives that will not rise until they watch you walk through your valley and come out with fire in your eyes. There are hearts that will not awaken until your courage shakes the air around them and says, it's time to remember who you are too. This is not a speech. This is a summons. You are the best. No one is better than, not because you win every time, but because you never walk away from who you are. Now go prove it, not by shouting it, by living it fully, deeply, powerfully, everywhere you go. Let the world feel what happens when the best version of you shows up fully alive. And when they ask how you got here, tell them this: I stopped doubting. I started deciding. I remembered my power, and I never gave it away again. That's who you are. That's who you've always been. The best. No one is better than. And finally, now and forever, you live like it. And that's the moment your legacy begins to write itself. Not in ink, in impact, not in history books, in hearts awakened. Not someday when the world finally recognizes your greatness, but right now, in the quiet moments where you walk in integrity when no one is watching, because the world will feel your vibration before they ever know your name. They'll sense your alignment before they understand your story. They'll trust your leadership not because of what you say, but because of how you live. You've entered the rare space few ever reach, where effort is effortless because it's driven by essence, where discipline becomes devotion because it's powered by purpose, where success becomes inevitable because failure is no longer feared. It's used. You've alchemized every doubt into decision, every pain into purpose, every limitation into leverage. You no longer shrink to fit the room. The room expands to hold your presence, not because you demand it, but because your energy commands it. This is the weight of becoming. This is the gravity of knowing who you are. And now you build, you bless, you blaze the trail no one else could. You stop playing for praise and start building for posterity. You stop waiting to be crowned because you finally walk like royalty. You don't owe the world an explanation. You show the world what it looks like when someone refuses to bury their brilliance. You lead. You lift. You live so fully that mediocrity runs from your presence. And when the final chapter of your life is written, it won't list followers, fortunes, or fame. It will whisper the names of every soul you awakened, simply because you chose to live as your highest self. So go now, fully aligned, unshakably rooted, undeniably present. Let your walk be a sermon. Let your breath be a reminder. Let your life be a roar that says, I remembered who I am. I reclaimed what was always mine. I no longer apologize for being powerful. I embody it because you are the best. And no one is better than that. And that embodiment, it's not about being perfect. It's about being real, so raw, so rooted in truth that even your silence teaches, even your stillness leads, even your flaws point people back to their own greatness. Because when you live at that level, you stop hiding your scars. You honor them. You stop running from your past. You redeem it. You stop trying to look powerful. You just are. No mask, no noise, just pure, unfiltered presence. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not because you never fall, but because when you do, you rise like you never left. Because the best don't stay down. They don't fold under pressure. They become pressure-focused, fierce, and faithful to the mission. And this mission is greater than you. It always has been. It's not just about your dream. It's about the door your life opens for others. It's about the permission your courage gives them to start again. Because when you rise, you don't just elevate your life. You shift the standard. You raise the bar. You change the room. So don't dim now. Don't slow down. Don't ask for directions from people who never left the ground. You've been lifted by fire. You've been molded by resistance. You've been chosen by pain to carry something eternal. And now you walk as proof. You are the evidence of what happens when someone stops asking if they're enough and starts living like they already are. So let the world say what it will. Let the noise come and go. You are anchored. You are aware. You are alive. And every step you take from here forward is legacy in motion, is truth made visible, is power walking on purpose. You don't owe the world your quiet. You owe it your light. You don't owe anyone your comfort. You owe them your clarity. You don't owe doubt another second of your story. You owe your destiny your full attention. Because this life isn't a rehearsal. This is it. Right now. Right here. You. You are the best. No one is better than, because no one else can live your life, speak your truth, or carry your fire. So carry it. Let it burn. Let it guide. Let it blaze through every room you enter. And when your final day comes, let them not just remember your words, but feel your wake. You were never meant to fit in. You were made to lead forward. And you did. as only you could, as the best. No one is better than, because no one else was ever meant to be you. And in that final breath, when the noise has faded, when the spotlight dims, when the crowd has long dispersed, what remains will be the energy you released into the world. Not the titles, not the trophies, but the truth you lived with, relentless resolve. You'll look back, not with regret, but with reverence. For every moment you could have settled, but chose to soar. For every time you could have played small, but chose to speak boldly. For every second you could have buried your brilliance, but instead said, not today, not anymore. Because being the best was never about being above. It was about going beyond. Beyond fear, beyond limits, beyond the old self that once whispered, you're not ready. You didn't just prove them wrong. You proved yourself right. Every step, every battle, every brave yes that cracked your comfort and carved your character. That's what it means to be the best. To wake up every day and remember who you are, why you're here, and what you came to unleash. So unleash it. Unfiltered, unchained, unapologetically. Because somewhere right now, someone's soul is flickering, wondering if it's safe to shine. And your example will be the spark that lights their fire. Not your perfection, your persistence, not your performance, your presence, not your highlight reel. You're real. And if nothing else, let them say you lived awake. You led with love. You left no power on the table because you knew from the moment you stopped chasing worth and started living truth that you were already everything you needed to be. The best. No one is better than, not because of what you had, but because of who you became. And now it's done. It's lived. It's legacy. And it will echo long after your final word. Because you didn't just talk about power. You became it. You didn't just hope for light. You were it. And you didn't wait to be chosen. You chose yourself. And for that, you will never be forgotten. Because the best never are. Because the best don't fade. They imprint on hearts, on minds, on generations to come. You see, what you've done isn't just personal. It's perpetual. It ripples. It multiplies. It moves through time, not as noise, but as narrative. A new story told through the lives you've touched. You became a signal, a frequency of freedom, of fire, of full presence. And that signal doesn't die. It expands. Because you didn't just rise for your name. You rose to rename what was possible. You redefined power, not as domination, but as dedication, not as performance, but as presence, not as being the loudest, but as being the clearest. You redefined what it means to be great, not someone who stood on others to rise, but someone who lifted others while flying. And the world felt it. Even if they couldn't explain it, they felt your peace. They felt your fire. They felt the permission you gave them simply by living your truth without apology. That is rare. That is sacred. That is you. So hold your head up, not because you're finished, but because you're free. Free of the noise. Free of the weight. Free of the old narratives that said you had to be more, do more, prove more. You are more right now, as you are, fully formed by the furnace, but not defined by it. This was always about becoming, not by force, by faith, not by chance, by choice. And you chose. You chose truth. You chose courage. You chose to stop complaining, stop comparing, stop compromising, and start commanding your life with the authority you were born with. So take a breath. Let it settle in. Let this moment imprint itself in your bones. You did it. You didn't just hear the message. You became the message. And now, wherever you go, the atmosphere will shift. Not because of what you say, but because of who you are, a living, breathing reminder that the best aren't born. They're built. In silence. In storms. In sacred decisions made when no one believed. But you did. And now, the world believes too. Because you showed them. You lived it. You led it. You left it all on the table. And in doing so, you became the best. Not just better than, but beyond everything you once believed was possible. And that will echo forever.